welcome everybody. My name is Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer, and I am back again with the messages for the week of October 6th, which does include a very powerful, very intriguing full moon in the sign of Aries. Now, if you haven't followed me yet, you want to click on that subscribe button and make sure you don't miss any of my content, such as the video I already posted for you a few days ago that has the breakdown for the full moon in Aries by sign. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of the full moon as we talk about the week ahead, but I do want you to go listen to that video with all of the details and the breakdown for both the full moon and the Yod personal mission or quest. So we'll be talking about that here shortly. Also, make sure you go to my website, maraleeburnett.com. Out there, you're going to find all of my written content that supports these videos. So for this full moon in Aries, of course, you want to go read that article. And then you'll have the new moon that follows. The whole month of October is out there. So is November. So is December. I'm done for the year with the writing, but I'm already itching to write about 2026 because it's a 1 year, and boy, do we want to see new beginnings after this tumultuous year, but we got a few months left to go. But if you want to be prepared for the craziness that's coming, go out, like I said, to my website and take a look at those articles. And they do also include all of the new moons and full moons in December as well. So I'm out there working ahead for you to help you be prepared to work with this energy and make the changes that are required of you. So support my content or book a session with me. I'll have some slots left through the rest of the year, but they are getting pretty slim. So make sure if you do want to work with me, you get that scheduled right away. So with that, I think we are ready to do the breakdown. Of course, I use AstroGold software. And you can download this even as an app to help you follow along with the energy, but always trust your intuition in how you're being guided, especially when you're working with apps and chat and all those things. You need the human touch when it comes to astrology and somebody's intuition like mine to help put all of the pieces together for you. All right, so with that, let's get started with this full moon that is happening on Monday. And in fact, let me adjust this so that we can see that this is happening at 14 degrees of the sign of Aries, which means the moon, of course, is in Aries at 14 degrees, and the sun is in the sign of Libra. So you Libras, the spotlight's on you at the time of this full moon. So you have the sun that shines a light, of course, on the moon, and that's what makes it full. And at a full moon, we're talking about completion. Now, it's always a challenge when we're talking about a warrior spirit like Mars that is a part of a full moon, because Mars is very selfish energy. It is about the self. That's why Aries is also the first house, because it's you, the individual, what you want, what your needs are. But the conflict, right? The tension is what the sun shines a light on, and that's your relationships, your partnerships. There can be tension involving contracts and commitments, justice, but you want what you want anyway. And so this is a difficult one. We always want to consider others, which is the seventh house, from the point of view as me, the individual. However, this one has so much power poured into the sign of Aries that it is very much an individual choice what goals you are concluding and completing at this time. And so, of course, the house that this happens in for you is important to consider, because there will be a ton of energy poured in there. It will be a fight for something important to you, regardless of what the other people in your life want for you. This is what you want for yourself. However, if you don't want to burn bridges and you don't want to end all of your relationships, try to do your best to consider others as you pursue your individual goals. So we have the ruler, of course, is Mars, and it's in the sign of Scorpio, which it also loves. So Mars, the warrior, is feeling extremely powerful. Now in Scorpio, that power can be hidden beneath the surface. And so we need to be careful about others and their actions and their activities at this time that could undermine us and our goals. And you need to make sure that you're doing what you want and trusting yourself, because of the fact that Scorpio can, be a little deceptive, and you just have to tune in and listen to your intuition, because this can also stir up a lot of fear and chaos at this time. So energy wise, we've got a super full moon, which means it's super powerful. It's closer to the earth, so it's even bigger looking in the sky. And of course, the moon rules our emotions. It rules over our emotional security. So do the things that keep you grounded and give you satisfaction and make you feel comfortable as you manage through all of this kind of crazy and chaotic energy. Because the energy here with this square to Pluto from Mercury just entering into Scorpio, and Pluto being its ruler, there's information that we're getting that isn't trustworthy, and we need to potentially pivot or change direction because of this square. Square says, here's a roadblock and you need to do something different. So there's something different involving information, transportation, children, power, feelings, and Mars is there as well, inspiring this energy of death, rebirth, transformation, and war. So this likely is going to bring, unfortunately, some kind of war-like activity, some type of attacks. But I think at the end of the day, it opens our eyes so that we see something. And what we see, we know we, the people, can change, and we have to. That's Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto's slowing down. It's next week when it begins to go forward very slowly. So you probably won't really see any movement from Pluto, more like around the 22nd. But here it is slowing down, getting ready to end its retrograde. Its review is over. The people are supposed to understand the power that they have in order to create change. And that change comes in the form of a yod or a mission from God. So it's such a powerful full moon. You've got Mercury at the apex of this work. So the finger of God points at your Mercury at 0 degrees. Your words, your thinking have to create a powerful change, a powerful transformation of some kind. Just changing your mind can create an incredible, different future for you. Now, the yod means there's two planets that are in a sextile to one another, which is Uranus in the sign of Gemini, which of course Mercury rules. So almost can say Mercury doesn't appreciate what Uranus is doing to create chaos and craziness with the information, trying to teach people something that does not align with the way Mercury thinks. So there's this, they're not on the same page. That's an inconjunct energy. Two energies that are aligned, but neither one is on the same page, and they have to work harder to find common ground. Then we have Neptune in Aries, of course, where the full moon is happening, Neptune dissolves things. Neptune can be deceptive. Neptune can kind of put you all under a spell, right? When we're talking about the Aries energy, there's a whole group of people that are wearing rose-colored glasses that need to wake up. And when Neptune's review period is over, when people wake up and realize, hey, this isn't the dream I had for myself, I need to make a change. Well, there's something about that awakening that is getting activated now. We're not going to be fully there yet, but there's something that is starting to become clear. Now, of course, we also have Saturn there. It's in the sign of Pisces, but I would like to keep my yod very tight as far as degrees. So I'm sticking with just this sextile between Neptune and Uranus. Now, we still have Pluto weighing in as well. One role, it is supportive, and its other role, it's creating change. Now, these outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they create collective change, but we're just at the beginning of the change. We're not seeing it. We're not realizing it yet. What we're seeing instead is the energy that knows its time is limited and it is overreaching to try to hang on to power that it knows it's about to lose. That's what's happening. And soon, as these planets, these outer planets, finish their retrogrades next year, they'll start to work in harmony to move things forward. But now we have to see all the ugly, all the crazy, all the conflicts in order to understand what has to change. So it's big work. Collective shifts don't happen very often like this, where we have all these outer planets working together in harmony to create change. There's a lot of talk about New Earth. There's talk about aliens, Uranus and Gemini. There's so much conversation going on. And it's all because I think everybody's reaching for whatever they align with that they hope will bring the change. But guess what? The people who are going to bring the change are us. Changing our mind, changing the way we think, changing how we think about each other. And oh my gosh, this conflict of white and black, left and right, that has to stop. We have to learn to meet in the middle. It is not always what an individual person wants versus what the rest of the people want, right? We can't always have this divide. That's what we're going to be collectively changing. Okay. So it's very intense. Those of you who have, of course, planets at the 14 degrees of Libra and Aries are going to notice this significantly. Those of you with these 0-degree planets and Scorpio, I would say 29 of Libra, 1 of Scorpio, you're going to feel like you've been called. You have a mission, and trust that you will receive some kind of information. You will get a download. This is intuitive energy that comes from Neptune. And those two energies working together are how you solve this mystery. You uncover this secret. You realize how to make a change and how to share the information with other people in order to make change happen. It's a big deal. But again, only those, I think, who have this direct impact will notice it as individuals. But we as a collective are about to go through some stuff. And keep this in mind. In a couple of weeks, when the sun comes through here, it's going to activate this yod again, but in the light. So Mercury's in the dark down here in the underworld in Scorpio land, and the sun's going to come and shine a light. So even if we don't fully understand the work. It's going on. It's hidden. It's beneath the surface. But in a couple of weeks, when the sun comes through here, we're going to see everything that we need to see and understand about whatever this mission was. And then we'll have even Venus come through here. So it's still intense. The work is intense. Anybody who's out there saying, oh, October's so easy, baloney, it is not. It's intense. It might feel more psychological work-wise beneath the surface, but we still have a tremendous amount of intense energy. I was describing this to somebody the other day when I said all the momentum has gotten you to a certain point, right? It's a 9-year. We have things we have to conclude, and we're at the top of the roller coaster or the waterfall where we're about to plunge down, and things are going to speed up before they flatten out again. That's the momentum through the end of this year and these next 3 months. It's just intense. So surround yourself with people that inspire you and encourage you. This is not the time to be with the people that make you feel bad about yourself and are nitpickers or whatever that is, frenemies. Just don't spend too much time or too much energy on the people that drag you down, because it will make it worse. Again, just surround yourself with your tribe, because that Pluto energy in Aquarius is your tribe coming together to empower you. And those are the relationships you should seek out, especially through the end of the year. Okay, so that's enough on that. There's more details again in the full video, but I like to give a little different perspective in each one, so I'm not just repeating myself. So that's what I have pulled out for you on Monday. So let us take a look now at Tuesday. Now keep in mind, new moons or full moons, we are fully in that energy for the next 2 weeks. So this full moon, this is the culmination point. And then as the light drains from the moon over the next 2 weeks, we will fully realize what it is that we need to conclude. We as individuals. This is just the starting point for that energy. So as we move into Tuesday, we still see Mercury, of course, is squaring to Pluto. And as the moon transitions out of Aries and into the sign of Taurus, where it does appreciate being, it's going to form a T-square. So there's still something that we are feeling uncomfortable with or about. It could be financial in nature. And always the release point here of this pressure is through Pluto. So people coming together, information, the internet are where we're going to see a lot of change and transformation as the result of the secrets coming to the surface. And then the moon in Taurus is highlighting greed in some ways. So greed, power, those things are at war with one another in the eyes of the people that want to make a difference in the world. So there is something, again, rather explosive and intense on Tuesday that it just carries on from the energy of the full moon from Monday. All right. As we move forward, we get to a little bit of relief. We start this sextile between Jupiter and Venus. So somewhere between the explosive event and Jupiter and Venus combining their energies, there is a blessing, there is hope, there is help. And so wherever you have these two energies in your chart, those energies are combining to help you through what may be a really stressful time. So Jupiter in Cancer can be making sure that you're connecting with family. Venus in Virgo can have you maybe going on an adventure with family, for instance, because Virgo, of course, is earthy, outdoor type of energy. You can actually make a big difference on Wednesday by donating to food banks, volunteering at a food bank, for instance. Virgo is healing. So there is some big opportunity that shows up for you, and you almost have to tune into it, right? A sextile is very subtle energy. It's there, it's beneath the surface, but you feel an opportunity. So wherever you're being guided, of course, on Wednesday, go there, but also be careful because we can overindulge. So if things like food or drink or drugs, right, are your coping mechanism, be careful on Wednesday because you may overcope. So, or you may overshop because it can be very indulgent, especially when we also have the moon in Taurus, which is definitely indulgent. Enjoy your, good food, good meals, but just be careful that you don't overdo it. Because you won't enjoy the hangover on Thursday at all. Speaking of Thursday, the reason why it will feel very uncomfortable is because we are going to start to feel into this energy of Venus starting to face off with Saturn. And, Saturn's rings are very far reaching. So we may already be feeling this, of course, for the whole week. And, Venus in Virgo is wanting extreme control when it comes to money and love and health. And, Saturn in Pisces is saying, yeah, none of that works if you don't have healthy boundaries. So there's this battle for control and boundaries that starts picking up for us on Thursday that we'll just want to start to pay attention to, and it's going to grow as we move forward. The other energy that can make us uncomfortable is the fact that Chiron in Aries, of course, showing us our wounds to ourselves, to self-confidence, our individual ills. There we go. Not eels. Our individual pain that we're experiencing. There is something unhealthy that we are so stuck in and we can't seem to break free from. But we're going to feel uncomfortable on Thursday if we continue down that path. So again, you've got Saturn saying, hey, you need healthy boundaries. And wherever this Venus Virgo energy is in your chart, you may have been, sticking your head in the sand and just ignoring it. But something about the conversation or the situation gets very uncomfortable on Thursday, so much so that you may decide it's time to do something different so that you can actually heal and stop repeating patterns. And then it's Friday. So here on Friday, as I've mentioned, we're still having this tension between Saturn and Venus. So this isn't just a quick hit. It's something you need to really tune in and pay attention to. We also see Uranus is dipped back at 0 degrees. So we're back to trying to understand what is this new experience that's been showing up ever since Uranus moved into the sign of Gemini, because 0 is the reset point. And so if you've gotten lost, gotten confused, gotten stuck in a certain pattern or way of thinking or speaking, this Uranus energy, when it comes back, here's the reset moment for you. And we want to take advantage of this, finish up this work before Uranus moves back into Taurus and really starts shaking up the markets again. So you want your mind free of any way of thinking that is not serving you. The other thing that we're seeing today is the sun in Libra still, of course, is making that odd angle back to the North Node. So the North Node, of course, in Pisces is trying to get us to lean in on our faith, right? To be, creative, to be more spiritual in nature. And maybe it's a partnership that you're in that is holding you back from being able to follow your north light, right? Follow your path forward. And so there can be more difficulties in relationships. There could be information that surfaces about a relationship, especially a public one, that is, difficult for others to have to hear. So in your own life, just know if you're having difficulty in your relationships, take a step back, take a deep breath, lean more into letting go of trying to control the outcomes and just trust the process and let things flow. Because that's what the Pisces energy is, right? It's water, it's flow. It's trusting your intuition and letting your intuition be your guide. Libra wants justice, wants things to be fair. And it's like, I have to be in a relationship to be happy, right? Pisces doesn't necessarily need that, but they're very good at people pleasing if they have that. So there's a chance to look at, are you giving too much just to keep the peace? And maybe some where you can make some adjustments, which you probably already saw at the full moon. And now you're getting a reminder of what you said you weren't going to tolerate anymore and what changes you're going to make as a result of that. All right. Then we are moving on, and it's Saturday, where the tension between Saturn and Venus starts to slowly break down. But of course, we're still feeling that. And then we have that moon in Gemini, which can make our emotions feel like a ping pong. It's light, it's dark, it's happy, it's sad. Right? It just keeps going back and forth, back and forth. And it creates this T-square. So whatever the argument has been, you have to be careful on Saturday that we don't create emotional outbursts at other people. I'm just warning you. If you feel out of control with your emotions, your mouth will get you in trouble on Saturday. So you need to take a step back. Forewarned is forearmed, correct? Yes. So the moon, as it moves forward, is also going to be squaring with that Neptune in Aries energy. So the moon's strong once it moves into the sign of Cancer on Saturday. And there, again, is going to be this need to stand up for yourself, fight for what you want, fight for your dream. But you also have to deal with your emotional well-being. And if other people are putting your emotional well-being at risk, you have to make some changes. And your intuition will guide you on what those changes should be. So that is Saturday. And then as we move into Sunday, you're just again seeing that the moon is now further moved into the sign of Cancer. And Venus is going to finish her time in Virgo, which for a lot of people will be good because it just feels like there's been so much control, whether it's financial, whether it's health, and Venus is about to move into her home sign of Libra, but there's at 29 degrees, this crisis feeling, this intensity, this test is what I always say that 29 degree energy invites for us is some kind of test. So did you make healthy choices where it was your money, your beauty? What were you doing? Because if you didn't, then the test is going to feel extremely intense, especially as this energy is starting to create this kite formation again as well. So there is a big opportunity to lift something up off the ground. We've seen this several times as the previous planets have come through here. Mars, Mercury, the sun. This kite keeps trying to get lifted off the ground. And here's one last opportunity that we get with the help of Venus to get whatever this is lifted off the ground. And so that is the energy that is going to carry us into next week as well. So speaking of that, of course, you see this boldly. Now, Venus in her home sign for the next 3 weeks is very, very strong. So this is going to put a huge focus on love and relationships and contracts, partnerships, and justice. So there is something that you want for your relationships, but opposing that is a dream you have for yourself, Neptune in Aries. So how can you balance what your dream for yourself is with your desire to have love, to be in a relationship, to be in some kind of a committed relationship, whether it's business or personal? You have to figure out how to balance your dreams with your partner's goals. That's what is creating tension, but doing that work is what lifts this off the ground. So this is another grand air trine created now with Venus's help, Uranus back at that 0 degrees, and you'll notice on Monday, Pluto, part of this grand air trine, is now moving direct. Very slowly, but it is officially out of retrograde and will sit here stationing for a while. So Pluto's the one to pay attention to, because as the planets change direction, they kick out a lot more energy. And so this is energy that's feeding into communities, communication, friend groups, networking, power to the people. The people are coming together with new insight about something they've learned and justice. So chances are Monday or around this day, which happens to be Columbus Day, Indigenous Day, whatever day we're celebrating on Monday, this is giving some big opportunity because of the information, because of collaboration for justice. So there can be lawsuits filed today. There could be announcements of some decisions made today. And supposedly, right, the power should be with the people. That's the grand air trine. And as we've been talking all year long, it seems, about the minor triangle, it's still there, still strong. And we're watching as Neptune ticks down to finish its time in Aries and then move back into its home sign for a grand finale of the work that we have to do. And it's intense because Neptune stays at 29 degrees for months. So go out and read my articles. So we'll talk about this and more when we come back together next week. The good news is nothing else is going to be activating this tension other than the moon when it moves through here, which it does every month, and it will be, gentle as it does. But these big tense moments are going to start to be a little less. But what isn't less is the one that I've talked about, and that is this growing conflict between Jupiter in Cancer and Chiron in Aries. So more to discuss on all of this next week. So remember to subscribe, like, and comment so that you get easy access to my videos. They're also posted on my website. And don't forget that I do a daily tarot card every week. every day. And so you get a message that has to do with tarot that then I tie into what's going on with the astrology as well. So it's a great little pick me up every day. You get a quick hit from whether it's my TikTok, my Instagram, or these YouTube shorts. It's out there for you every day to keep you tuned in with the energy. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you subscribe, then you get a weekly update mailer from me that gives you a direct access to this video and the articles for October, so you don't have to go hunting and finding. So it is definitely worth subscribing to my website to make your life easier. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep letting me know how the energy is showing up for you. I am very, very curious how this full moon is going to show up for everybody and show up in the world. It's a big, powerful one, that's for sure. All right, guys, we'll talk next week. Take care.